Hi, my name is James. I'd like to talk about my IT Capstone project, building and programming a Raspberry Pi robot car. Now, before I started this project, I had zero experience with Raspberry Pis. I'm a beginner level coder at best, so I thought this would be a good test of my abilities. I had two goals in mind when I started this project. First, I want to be able to control the car remotely, and secondly, I want to be able to program the car to run independently without running into any objects or walls. In this video, I'm going to talk about what I needed for the project, how I did the project, and I'm going to show you the project running as well. Well, this is what I needed to do my project. First, I got the robot car. I went with the Sunfounder Pi Car X due to the available features and the price point. It'd be able to do what I needed for the project. Secondly, I got, of course, the Raspberry Pi to go with it. Unfortunately, right now, there's a bit of an unavailability of Raspberry Pis due to current world situations, so I had to pay a bit of an inflated scalper price in order to get my hands on it. But usually, it's a lot cheaper. Secondly, I got a pair of lithium-ion batteries to go for the project. And then I got a couple of micro SD cards, which of course came with an SD card adapter. And I also got an SD card reader to plug into my computer so I can work with it. Finally, I got a Raspberry Pi power supply, USB-C, and a HDMI to micro HDMI cable. The total price for this project was a little higher than I thought it'd be, mostly because of the inflated Raspberry Pi price, but you can expect to pay $200 to $300 for everything total. With the supplies in order, it's time to put together the robot. Thankfully, the kit includes everything you need, the parts, the tools, the instructions. If done correctly, it should look a little bit like this. Now that the robot's put together, it's actually time to start working on the project, the first being remote control. To do this, we're going to use the software called EasyBlock. EasyBlock is provided by Sunfounder, which is the company that made the robot car. EasyBlock basically breaks down the code into easy-to-understand blocks, which is good for beginners. To use it, we're just going to install the software onto the Raspberry Pi, and then we're going to install the EasyBlock app onto my phone here. From the phone is where we're going to do the coding, and eventually we're going to be controlling the robot as well. The EasyBlock app comes with a few sample programs, including remote control. You can edit these programs if you want, which I chose to do. By default, the RC program controlled all movement on one joystick. But personally, I prefer using two joysticks. So I added a second joystick right here that controlled left and right, while the original, A, handles the forward and back. Now, all you gotta do, if you want it to do anything, is just hit the run button, and it is ready to go. Okay, now that we have the remote control working, it's now time to do the second goal, which is to program it to automatically travel while avoiding things. It's going to do that using the ultrasonic sensor right here on the front. The ultrasonic sensor is going to measure the distance between it and an object. When an object gets too close, the robot's going to come to a complete stop. It's going to reverse and turn a bit, then it's going to move forward again. It'll keep doing this anytime it detects an object or wall, and if all it goes correctly, it should avoid it. So this is the program I wrote to accomplish the second goal. The robot is set to travel forward before entering a while loop. In the loop, the sensor is constantly reading the distance ahead of it and printing it to the command line. Anytime it goes under a certain distance, it triggers this if statement. The car then comes to a stop, the wheels turn, it travels backwards a set amount of time, the wheels turn again, and then it continues to drive forward. This program then loops back to the sensor, and it'll trigger again if anything ever gets too close. Alright, now that I have a program written, I need to be able to actually tell it to run the program. I can do this by opening a remote connection between the robot and my PC. Since my PC and the robot are on the same wireless network, I can actually use a program called Putty to open a remote connection between the two. And from that point, I just have to send the command from my PC to the robot and everything will start working. So the robot is now on and it's connected to my computer. And now all I have to do is press enter to start this program and it should get running. And here we go. And with that, the project's basically done. There are still a couple more things I want to cover though. First, I want to just talk about what issues came up during the project, and also how the project can be improved later on. As for issues during the project, there were at least two that popped up. The first being getting a Raspberry Pi. As I mentioned earlier, it's just sold out everywhere, so I had to use a scalper in order to get one for the project. The second has to do with the servos. It's actually possible to damage them during installation if you apply a little bit too much force, which I might have done. Maybe. If you do damage the servos, there's really not much you could do except work around it and maybe replace them in the future. There is still room for improvement. The coding could be adjusted so it's a little further away from objects before the if statement triggers. The sensor itself has a bit of a flaw in that it only detects stuff directly in front of it, so it's possible for the wheels to get snagged on an object that's out of range. If somehow the sensor could be adjusted so that it turns, it can scan a wider area and catch things it normally wouldn't. And that's it for my project. If any of this interests you, I suggest checking it out as well. Personally, I had a good time. It was a pretty cool project, and I even learned a few things. If you're interested in Raspberry Pis, this is definitely a good starting point. If you can find a Raspberry Pi. They'll come back eventually. Anyway, well, thank you for checking out my video, and have a good day.